Hey folks, it's Thomas from the Booze and BJJ podcast. So with episode 10 going live on YouTube, we had privately been sent some questions about our about what we said about Detroit urban survival tactics, and this is kind of an interest of mine because I've done some sort of martial arts since I was 13 years old. And a lot of my previous training did include a heavy self defense component, but it was very practical. Um, a lot of the stuff that I've seen from Detroit urban survival tactics, which I'll just call Dust from henceforth, even though there's many acronyms related to Commander Brown, I think his name is, and his companies. Um, there's some useful stuff, but there's a lot of stuff that is very questionable. And unfortunately, a lot of people who don't know any better, who don't train any kind of martial art regularly, especially a pressure tested one, and a lot of people who don't have any practical firearms experience, whether it be usage, knowledge, whatever, see the stuff that he is putting on YouTube and on Instagram, and they think it is a useful technique. But unfortunately, the truth of the matter is there's quite a bit of additional details that need to be pointed out before people can make an effective evaluation. And we're gonna start here with the first video that I want to point out, and I'll point out why um, it will get you killed. And I guess we could go over the video comments so I could show you how people are, as a whole, are not realizing what they're seeing. But yeah. Anyways, let's do it.
Detroit Urban Survival Training. I'm going to share with you right now what to do if a striker-fired weapon is pinning against your chest, against the wall, and a criminal is holding you at bay. And the reason why they're doing this is because this is how they search you for weapons, how they're going to take things from you, also how they're going to harm you physically and keep you from running or pulling out a weapon is by getting close and pinning you to a wall or to a car. In this case, it's striker-fired, so there's no hammer in the back. So the first thing we're going to do, since we can't move out of the way, we can't move offline, and if I were to try to move this, as soon as he saw my hand move, he's going to fire. So we have to make this weapon not fire. And to give an example, the human reaction time, when he sees me move, he's going to fire. So the reason why it didn't move, the slide didn't slide, is because I inhibited it by pushing it to the rear. From there, what we do is push the barrel back towards the aggressor, and now you have the weapon, and if you don't want to shoot, then you just pin them down to the ground using their finger and taking them under control.
All right. So I'll just be blunt. What he just explained only works with a BB gun or a airsoft gun. A little bit of background. I said it in the episode 10, but I worked as a licensed firearm dealer for 6 years, and of those 6 years, I was also a licensed gunsmith. So I'm very, very familiar with striker fired, hammer fired, etc. type pistols. Um, so a striker fired pistol um, does not rely on a hammer to fire a round. It has an internal firing pin that is always once you rack the slide and load a round, it's always ready to fire. Meaning, in this position that he's caught in right here, if this was a real firearm, all the person that's holding the pistol to his chest has to do is pull the trigger. That will cause the firing pin to go forward, hit the primer on the round, and the firearm will go off. The bullet will be fired. What happens after that is that the slide will actually, because of the explosion of the bullet, so to speak, the slide will then go backwards, eject the empty casing, and then reload a fresh one. So if we go back and watch this, what he's explaining is incorrect. And let's go to that moment. I'm going to quiet this down right here. right to the moment where this person pulls the trigger and he catches the slide. What actually?
Criminal is holding you at bay. And the reason why they're doing this is because this is how they search you for weapons, how they're going to take things from you, also how they're going to harm you physically, keep you from running or pulling out a weapon, is by getting close and pinning you to a wall or to a car. In this case, it's striker fired, so there's no hammer in the back. So the first thing we're going to do, since we can't move out of the way, we can't move offline, and if I were to try to move...
All right, just real quick, pay very close attention to what happens here. And listen, because you'll actually hear the person pulling this is an airsoft gun. You can actually hear the mechanism pop, and then you can hear the slide go back, and you can actually see it. When he catches the slide, when he puts his hand on the slide and catches the pistol, the slide is already back. If this were an actual live striker-fired firearm, like a Glock 19, Glock 17, Smith & Wesson M&P 9, what have you, he would have been shot in the chest. Just pay attention and watch.
Move this. As soon as he saw my hand move, he's going to fire.
That's the sound that you have to listen for.
Fire. So we have to make this weapon not fire. And to give an example, the human reaction time, when he sees me move, he's going to fire.
Right there. Let's rewind it.
So the reason why it did...
You could actually hear it go off underneath the sound of his hand clasping the pistol.
So the reason...
Oh, hold on. It's very subtle, but it's there. And let's say, for example, let's say he did catch it and he did push the slide backwards. Most people are not gonna, or rather, most people's reaction is to flinch backwards when someone's trying to catch their firearm. Every single firearms-related pistols course, concealed carry course that I've taken, always drill into people. If somebody is coming in close, you pull your firearm back. If somebody is reaching for your firearm, you pull it back. You can pull all the way to your chest, and you can still fire on the aggressor. Now I'm going to pull out an empty Glock 17. This is one of my personal ones. Excuse me. I did this last time, but I wasn't planning on doing it again. So it's empty, right? Yeah. So now it's ready to fire if it was loaded. So yeah, if I pull the trigger after racking the slide, if it was loaded, it would go off. Now rack it again so the trigger mechanism is primed. If I were to catch this, actually let's catch it the way he did it. I don't know if I could do that, but let's say I catch it like so, right? And I do manage to push the slide back. All I have to do to make my firearm ready to fire again is to physically pull it backwards and then bang. So let's say that he successfully, I'm going to put this down real quick. Let's say that this technique worked as intended. You catch the slide, you push it backwards. All the person holding the firearm has to do is pull it back less than an inch or however you need to, just so that the slide goes forward again, and then bang. This is bullshito. You know, there are so many things that have to go perfectly right, perfectly timed in order for this to work against a real firearm, that the normal person on the street that would try this is going to get themselves hurt and at best and killed at worst. Now, another thing that he's not factoring in is muzzle blast. You know, let's say worst case scenario, he catches the pistol, he pulls the slide back. The aggressor pulls it backwards to make the firearm primed to fire again. Let's say he moves out of the way. If they pull the trigger, it's not going to be like some little wisp of air that comes out. There's going to be hot gases. There's going to be all sorts of volatile stuff coming out of that muzzle, following and including a bullet. And including loud sound, sound so loud that it's I believe that the decibels is 140 plus, which is more than a jackhammer. And unless you go to a range with hearing protection on, even with hearing protection on, that sound is going to make you flinch. It's like being hit with in the vicinity of a flashbang grenade on a smaller scale, except there's no flash, it's just a bang. But long story short, this is going to get somebody hurt, and there's people who are buying into it as like a super viable technique, and on top of that, the person holding the pistol is just allowing him to do the technique. There's no resistance, there's no pressure being applied to this situation. The most effective martial arts that I've taken part in, I've practiced, and that I enjoy doing have a heavy pressure component to it. Judo, boxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. If I was able to do it, Muay Thai. Unfortunately, I can't with my knee situation. But there's no pressure testing here. And plus, for someone to get good at this technique, let's say it did work, even with pressure testing, they'd have to consistently train it over and over again for them to be effective at it. And in combat sports, there's a saying: drillers are killers. And drilling is very important to build up your skill with it. This, from the comment section, people make it seem like, they're not outright explicitly saying it, but I've seen some comments that give me the impression that people think that they can just go out and do this from watching this video a handful of times. That's just not how it works. Not this specifically as an it, but this is not how self-defense works. You have to practice at it. You have to get good at it. You have to put some time in. And the big red flag is practicing these techniques with airsoft guns. And I'm not saying he has to use a live firearm, but at least put some protection on and use a firearm loaded with blanks, so you could see how it would go off with all the muzzle blast and everything coming at you, and the actual sound of it. That's my problem with this video. And I'm sure he will disagree highly, and I'm sure that there's going to be people who are going to defend him, and I'm sure that there are people who are going to think that I'm full of trash and I don't know what I'm saying. You know what? I'm fine with that, and quite frankly, it doesn't bother me. My point of making this video is just to put the opinion of somebody who has years of experience in pressure-tested martial arts, in addition to having years of experience with firearms usage and handling, and et cetera, et cetera. That's just what I want to do here, and that's what I was asked to do. So that's that. Now let's go look at something else. Let's go see what else that they have here.
Sir, how long have you been in law enforcement?
Let's see what videos they got. Man, I should really put my glasses on. Knife disarm. Knife release and disarm. Let's see.
You take your hand on the side, comes right out.
Flick it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if you're holding here, you take your hand on the side, comes right out.
Flick it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if you're holding here, you can also take the thumb and go here. Another way to take it out. Another way to take it out is to pull here and push here, and the blade comes right out.
Right. So what if I'm distant though? You know what I'm saying? So if I see you about to grab my hand, I ain't just gonna let you do it.
Oh yeah, they come to stab?
Yeah. So if
Yep.
I'm coming to the stab,
They come to stab here.
you do the ass one. Okay. Got you.
Bigger blade.
Okay, you about to take out all the Apple Watch?
Man,
It's
super
about
watch.
to be real, you hear me?
Just scratch the super watch.
Yeah, you want to
All right, they come to stab. Fast and hard. One. One slow, this is going in the eyes. Yep. There's the hold here, and then
about to grab my hand, I ain't just gonna let you.
All right, first impressions. Um, Props to, I'm gonna call him Commander Brown. I'm not 100% sure if that's his name or what he calls himself, but props to Commander Brown. Like the guy asked a question. What if this scenario happens, and he switched things up. He went with something a little bit more along the lines of what this gentleman, I don't know who this is, um, what the gentleman in the camouflage pants was asking. So, respect to him for that. The only thing is, again, pressure testing.
Oh yeah, they become stab.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm coming to the
So
stab.
they come stab.
If you watch what happens, it's like a standard low stab, and he does it like kind of slow, kind of. I think he was instructed to stab him in that manner, but let's watch it again.
You do the ass one, okay. Gotcha.
Bigger blade.
Okay, you about to take out all the Apple Watch?
Man, super
about
watch.
to be real, you hear?
Just scratch the super watch. All right, they come to stab. Fast and hard. One.
Yeah, that's not how people stab. I mean, in the hood, I've seen. I'm not going to reveal too much, but I've seen people go at it with knives, and they don't start from there. They run at you, and they start stabbing repeatedly very fast. One of the worst things that you could do in self-defense is engage in a knife fight, whether or not you have a knife or not. First reason is that you're going to get cut. If you look here where I have it paused, look where Commander Brown's bare arm is. Look where this knife is. If this is a double-edged knife, even with this guy's reaction, camouflage pants guy's reaction, if he pulls the knife back, he's slicing up Commander Brown's arm. On top of that, look at how he's reaching out like that. With his arms are damn near straight. There's a saying in BJJ that straight arms are broken arms. And even further, I think it was in a judo class or an Ishinryu class, straight arms are weak arms. So, even in BJJ, T-Rex arms, if the closer your arms are in, the stronger you are. The more outward they are, the more straight they are, the weaker they are. And it leaves you exposed. Let's say that this guy was an intent attacker, hypothetically, He's not going to just sit there and let you do all the stuff. Like, he's not going to let you circle your arms like that without retaliating. Like, you're going to get sliced up. If somebody comes at you with a knife, the safest thing to do to get away, unless you're armed with a pistol, is to run away. I hate to say it, but that's the most effective way to get out of there without getting stabbed in the gut. And if you have a concealed carry, you run away while you're drawing your pistol to turn around and fire. Again, situational with that because, if they're faster than you, you're going to get stabbed in the back. But let's see what happens. No, I mean, like, this is, again, even though I did give him respect for switching it up, like, these guys really aren't resisting. This isn't a live scenario. Like, how would this work out if it was live? If I were to go over there, and one of the last knife defense courses I took, the instructor gave us red markers, white long sleeve T-shirts, and we tried out the knife defense techniques that we were taught. And our partner, who had the red marker, was supposed to slash us up so we could see one key lesson from that is that if somebody has a knife and you have to defend yourself, you are getting cut. And one of the issues that we found out was when we were doing that exercise, a lot of the students in the class lost their composure, and then not only did they get cut up in the arms, they got stabbed in the stomach a few times. So, again, pressure testing.
One slow, just one eye. Yep. There's the hold here. And
yeah. I mean, if you could do it, cool. If it works for you, cool. But, let's do one more, and then I'm going to call it a day. Let's look at this gun disarm again. No, I don't want to do that one. Let's do... let's see. Where's the video with the two BJJ? No. Pulling back gun disarm.
hold.
Yeah, let's look at this one.
Yep, you go right to the face. You don't wait to stop here. What's he gonna say? Yep. One coming in. Right to his mouth.
Guys and guys don't do that.
Try not to do it. Hold. Yep. Come here. Yep. You go right to the face. Hold. Yep.
I don't like how these scenarios are staged. Like, he's telling the guy to hold it a specific way so he can perform a technique with little resistance. Like, basically what he's doing here is effectively just a wrist lock. He's holding the pistol so the guy can't release it, and by that point, it's effectively just a wrist lock. Getting to this point with an armed person, that's the issue. That's what he should be teaching, especially if you're going to teach someone to grab a pistol and perform effectively what's just simply just a wrist lock.
Come here. Yep, you go right to the face. You don't wait to stop here. What's he gonna say? Yep.
So, then again, this is just little tricks that he's doing.
Yep.
Hands are outreached. Hey, yeah. Guy's got the pistol at him, pointed at him, which is, I think this is unrealistic. Most people who are going to pull a gun on you aren't going to stand this close to you. They're going to hold you at a bit of a distance.
Yep.
So the dude tries to reach for the pistol, dude pulls it back, and at least, I think I said before, it seemed like this guy had some sort of firearms training. I think he does have a little bit, but if he took a really good pistols course, he would have pulled the pistol right back to his rib cage, and he could have still fired at him. It looks like he kind of turned to pull it away, which is fine, but again, they're not really fighting him for the pistol. They're just kind of standing there.
One coming in. Right to his mouth.
Guys and guys don't do that.
Try not to do it. Hold. Yep. Come here. Yep. You go right to the face. You don't wait to stop here.
Yeah, the hit at the face is basically just a useless technique. I don't know. Anyways, oh man, I could do this all day. But I can understand any kind of counter criticism to me. This guy has millions of viewers. He runs a security business in Detroit. What do I have? I'm just some middle-aged guy who has a very small podcast, on YouTube. But I think it is very much worth it to warn people about videos like this. If you want to do these types of things, if you want to learn how to defend yourself against an armed attacker, if you want to learn how to defend yourself against an unarmed attacker, go find somebody legit. Go find somebody who has some sort of program where you can go and practice and get pressure tested. That's all you have to do. And I know that's a little bit difficult, but, for unarmed attackers, just find a combat sport, some sort of martial art that has a pressure testing component, and then all this stuff will become easy. What I've seen that I don't like, it seems like the videos that I've seen of from Commander Brown is that a lot of his self-defense and control techniques are based on wrist locks. Now, anybody who's done BJJ or judo knows that wrist locking an unwilling person is very difficult. Throwing an unwilling person is very difficult. I've seen 2 videos today where he had somebody hold his wrist and then he basically just wrist lock him. Holds a pistol out, he holds his wrist and effectively wrist locks the uke, the aggressor or whatever, while they're holding the pistol. That's fine, but that has to be practiced. That's a skill. I can't tell you how many times I've seen beginners in whether it be judo, BJJ, Ishinryu, etc., 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 learn a technique one day and think they can execute it live like that. It doesn't work that way. You have to practice it, get your timing down. Yeah. Anyways, if there's anything, you know what? Let's do one more armed video. Yeah, I think we got time for that one. Let's see. Tall man, gun disarm, and takedown. Let's look at this one.
Shoot the gun? Now,
why did you just fall down like that?
why you let me quit?
It's an intelligent option. I don't know.
I barely touched him. He threw himself on the ground.
Momentum.
You know what this is starting to remind me of? Aikido. And I did. I tried Aikido for a few months. And if you're, it's reliant on it's reliant on your partner complying with your technique. And this is what it's starting to remind me of. Like I feel like he took some Aikido at some point, and that's the basis of his unarmed self-defense. That would explain all the wrist locks and stuff.
Isn't that funny though?
That's good, yeah.
Watch this, go forward towards him. Yep. Come here.
Oh my God.
Some people think that doesn't work though.
And the face grab thing, getting to somebody's face is going to be the problem. What if the person's significantly taller than you? One thing I've seen in BJJ and judo is that somebody who's like 5'5", if they're partnered up with someone who's like 6 foot plus, the height is a severe advantage for the one person and disadvantage for the other. Reaching for the face and applying any pressure for them to like go backwards and fall over, it's going to be super difficult. Anyways, let's continue.
I'll take it. You take someone down like that. Go forward towards him. Go here. Yep, go hard. Don't stop.
Let's watch that disarm again.
Shoot the gun?
Again, he's fully extended, he's fully committed. His balance looks like it's probably off. The firearm went off. Where was the muzzle pointed? I don't know. Anyways, you know what? I'm done. I could nitpick this all day. I'm going to sleep. So, anyways, questions, concerns, criticisms, put them in the. Oh God, I think my dog is begging. Put them in the comments. I will talk to y'all later. Bye.